Hello everyone, welcome to our lesson today. Are you ready? Yes? Okay. First take a look some pictures and can you guess what is the topic of the lesson today? The first pictures about music. What kind of music are the children playing and how about their parents? Or looking at the way of dressing between children and their parents. Or some activities in free time between children and grandfather. Or the way of working and studying between grandsons and grandfather. Or the way of communications between father and daughter. Okay, what are the pictures talking about? Can you guess? Yes, that's right. The differences between parent and children, between grandchildren and grandfather. Okay, we call that is generation gap. And in the family, is there a generation gap between you and your parents? Or are there any problems between the generations in your family? Let's answer the questions. Alright. Now let's move on to new lesson. Unit 1. The generation gap. Lesson 1. Getting started. Our families. Now we are going to listen to a conversation between Arm and Sam. They are talking about the generation gap in their families. Now listen and check your answers. Are there any similar problems that appear in the conversation? Now this activity 1. Listen and read.
Unit 1. The Generation Gap. Getting started. Activity 1. Listen and read.
Do you visit your grandparents every weekend?
Well,
Just my mum's parents. But I don't need to visit my other grandparents.
Okay.
You see, I live in a big house with my dad's parents and my uncle's family.
I see. You're part of an extended family then. You certainly have more fun than me. I live in a nuclear family with just my parents and my younger brother.
That's right. I think my parents are luckier than others because they don't have to worry about childcare. My sister and I also learn a lot of skills from my grandmother.
So, are there any problems between the generations in your family?
You mean a generation gap? Well, there are. My grandma has her own beliefs about things like hairstyles, appearance, and table manners. She thinks women must do all the housework, while my parents believe family members should share the chores.
What about your grandpa?
He is the most conservative person in my family. He thinks that I ought to get a job in a state-owned organisation after university. He says I should follow in his footsteps.
Oh, really? Do your parents share his viewpoints?
No, they don't. My parents are more open-minded. They just give us advice, but they never try to impose their decisions on us.
You mean there's no generation gap between you and your parents?
Well, sometimes conflicts do happen, but we sit together and discuss. We all think we need to understand each other better.
Lucky you. You must be so happy to have such a great relationship with your parents.
Thank you.
To help you understand more about the conversation, I will give you some new words. Now, we move on to part vocabulary. Now, the first word. Look at pictures. Tell me, what types of family is it? That is extended family. Extended family. And the next words. Look at picture. A family composed of a father, mother, and children. What types of family is it? That's right. Nuclear family. Nuclear family means gia đình hạt nhân. And look at the pictures. What are they talking about? That's child care. Việc chăm sóc con cái. The next word. Look at the picture. Can you guess the word? That's right. The generation gap. The generation gap. Khoảng cách giữa các thế hệ. And the next word. Look at the picture. Which word is this? That's right, table manners means cúng cách hoặc là cách cư xử ở bàn ăn. And here, look at it. Can you guess which word is it? The way someone looks. That's right, appearance. Appearance means ngoại hình. And one more word. Older people do not usually like or trust change, especially sudden change. Do you think what word is this? Look at pictures. Do not like or trust change. Okay, that's conservative. Conservative mean bảo thủ. And it's easy. Look at pictures. Yes, no. So the word is conflict. Conflict. Xung đột. And the last word. Look at pictures. There is one number on the ground. One says 6 and one says 9. So, which word is the picture talking about? That's right, viewpoint. Viewpoint nghĩa là quan điểm.
Extended
Now
family,
listen and
nuclear
repeat
family,
the word.
Childcare.
the generation
First
gap,
word.
Appearance.
table manners,
Viewpoint. Conflict. Conservative.
Okay, copy down all the new words. Please learn them by heart. Okay, now let's check your answers. Number 1, Sam is part of an extended family. Your answer is, now let's check. It's false. Sam is part of an extended family. Why? Because the second Sam in the conversations, he says, I live in a nuclear family. So Sam is part of a nuclear family. And number 2, Anne is part of a nuclear family. It's true or false? It's false because the first Anne in the conversation, he says, I live in a big house with my dad's parents and my uncle's family. So Anne is a part of an extended family. And number 3, Anne's grandparents look after their grandchildren. It's true or false? And it's true because Anne said, I think my parents are luckier than others because they don't have to worry about childcare. So Anne's grandparents look after their grandchildren. And number 4, Anne's grandmother thinks that all family members should share housework. True or false? It's false because Anne said, my parents believe family members should share the chores. So Anne's parents, not grandmother. And the last statement, Aunt's grandpa wants her to do the same job and things in life as he did. True or false? It's true. Because Aunt said, I ought to get a job in a state-owned organization after university. He says I should follow in his footsteps. Now let's move on to the next part of the lesson. Activity 3. Complete the following definitions using the highlighted compound nouns in the conversations. Nuclear family, table manner, child care, viewpoint, generation gap, extended family. Now we have a 6 compound nouns and 6 gap. Now read through the 6 statements and then choose the right word or phrases. Two minutes. Okay, now let's check your answers. Number 1, which words you choose? Which word or phrases? Number 1, nuclear family, right? Consists of parents and children. And number 2, the care of children, of course, is the child care. And number 3, the difference in attitudes or behavior between younger and older age groups, we can cause a lack of understanding. That is generation gap. And number 4, the rules of behavior that are typically accepted while parents are eating at the table. It's a table manner. And number 5, a person's opinion about a subject, that is viewpoint. And the last one, a big family is mean extended family. Okay? Okay, move on another part of the lessons. Activity 4. Find other compound nouns in the conversations. We have already had 6 compound nouns on the top 3. So, for example, nuclear family, child care, generation gap, table manners, viewpoint, extended family. Now, add more compound nouns you can find in the conversations. Now, 2 minutes to find more compound nouns in the conversations. Okay, now let's check your answers. Which word can you find out? The first, grandparents, grandma, or grandmother, grandpa, hairstyles, sick, housework, and the last one, footsteps. Footsteps có nghĩa là những cái dấu chân. Okay, one more part of the lesson. Activity 5. Read the conversation again and find the modal verbs used to express 1. Duty and obligations. 2. Opinions and advice. And number 3. Lack of obligations. Now, 1 minute. Duty and obligation có nghĩa là bổn phận trách nhiệm phải làm gì. Opinion and advice có nghĩa là đưa ra ý kiến hoặc là lời khuyên ai đó làm gì. Và thứ ba là lack of obligation có nghĩa là không có bổn phận phải làm gì. 1 minute. Okay, number 1, duty and obligations, that is must or have to. Must or have to có nghĩa là phải, cần phải làm gì. Number 2, opinion and advice là chúng ta có should and ought to. Should và ought to đều có nghĩa là nên làm gì. Và thứ ba là lack of obligation là không nên làm gì, không có bổn phận làm gì. Là chúng ta có not have to hoặc là not need to. Là copy down the answers. Okay, that's all about the lesson today. Now, homework for you. First, learn by heart all the new words of the lesson today. And then, you can discuss with your partner online about the advantages and disadvantages of expanded family. Thank you and see you soon.